Now the next thing that I want to do is to create a punch. Let's hide these two bodies that I have created previously. Okay, I want to insert another body here. Insert a body and right click on this and make sure that its name is changed to the punch. That is the correct term for this. I need to have another plane, so let's go to wireframe and surface design. Here I can add a plane by going to insert wireframe, selecting the plane. It is going to be 200 millimeters above the XY plane. Okay. Let's go back to part design. Now in part design environment, you can see that I am changing the environment so I can select the tools necessary. But as I told you previously, you can have the tool sets here by right clicking on this and select the correct toolset that you need so that you do not have to go to different environments. But remember, some features are available in different environments and you cannot have all features in the environment that you work. So again, I'm in part design environment, selecting this, and you can see that the punch is highlighted here. If it is not highlighted, you can right click on punch and define in work object is the thing that you need to click. Okay, and this makes sure that you are working in punch. So I go to sketch environment, and by going to sketch environment, I want to draw a simple circle, and the circle is exactly the same as the circle that I created in die. So I can do two different things. I know that the thickness of the thickness of the sheet metal is 1 millimeter, so I need to have about 148 millimeters of diameter here. And remember that I had 150 millimeters of diameter in the die, hole that I just created. But I can create 150 millimeters of diameter here, and that's easier because I may have some complex shape here and I'm not going to calculate everything, and I can go to operations and select the offset tool from here and type in a -1 and select this and hit enter. And of course it is not selected. I can exit my tool and first select this and then go to offset tool. By selecting this, I can see that I have the ability to click somewhere, and by double clicking on this, I can make sure that 1 millimeter is the correct offset. I click on this and I can remove the other circle. So if you have some complex shapes here, you can do this. Using the offset tool is better. So you can see that again, I have the same 148 millimeters of diameter, and that's okay for me. So I exit my workbench, I select the pad tool, 50 millimeters is okay, and that's it. And again, I need to have some fillet around here so that it's not cutting my sheet metal. So I go to insert menu, dress up features, and select each fillet. And this time, remember that I had a 2 millimeters of fillet in die, and we have a 1 millimeter thickness of the sheet metal. So inside radius is going to be just 1 millimeter. So I type in 1 and select this edge, and that's it. Now I have everything defined here. So I zoom out a little bit and move up like this, and go and unhide these objects. So unhide die, unhide computer case store. Now the next thing that I need to do is this. I need to move these and so that they touch the computer case door, and this way I'm telling the generative sheet metal design environment, I'm telling the user stamp tool to create a punch and die and create a stamp that I want to using these two. Okay, so for this I have to move the die 200 millimeters upwards so that it is going to touch the sheet metal that is the computer case door. So I make sure that the die is the thing that I'm working on. So I right click on die and click define and work object. Now it is selected. So I go to insert menu, go to dress up, go to transformation features and select translate. And again, it asks me if I'm sure about this moving. Yes, I'm sure. And it is 200 millimeters of distance. So I type in 200 and the direction is going to be the Z component. Now I can see that it is telling me what it is going to look like after the transformation. I click on OK and that's it. Okay, now I right click on punch and make sure that this is the active object here. So I click define in work object. Now I have a 1 millimeter of thickness for this stamp for the die, for the computer case door. So I need to move it 200 millimeters down. I have a 5 millimeter of pocket in the die, so this is making 205 millimeter, and I need to subtract the 1 millimeter thickness of this computer case door. So this is going to make 204 millimeter downward. So I go to insert menu, to translation, and again I agree with that. Minus 204 is selected, and the Z component is selected. Now I click on OK. Everything is in place. So I can hide this again. I don't want to see this. Okay, now take everything back to generative sheet metal design environment. This time I'm going to create a user stamp, and by go to insert menu to stamping and select the user stamp. And there is an error here that tells me you are not working with the correct object. So I cancel this out. I make sure that the computer case door is selected as the object that is going to work with. So computer case door is I click on defining work object to make sure that this is selected. I go to insert menu, go to stamping, go to user stamp, and this time everything is working. What are you going to create what are you going to punch? I'm going to punch this face. So I select this face. Now it is open. It tells me that if I'm going to use with die or with opening, I'm going to select with die because I'm selecting a die. So this time it asks me to select a punch. This is a punch. And it tells me select a die. So I select the die from here, from the specification tree. Now I have everything selected here. And it tells me to verify that I want to have the punch exactly in the place of the die and punch. So I click the position and context, and you can see that it is moving on the place that is there. So I click on OK. Now everything is done. You can see that the punch and die is hidden, and the stamp is exactly created as I wished, and everything is working just fine. So now you can create your own stamps. It can be complex shape, and you can create die and punch and create the stamp using those.